Hi, I woke up this morning with shoulder pain and limited shoulder mobility, so I thought this was the perfect opportunity to go through some strategies that I use for my own body to get my shoulder moving and get rid of pain. And let's see if it helps you as well. So I'm just going to go through my usual thought process, and if this rings true to you, give these things a try and see if it helps your body as well. You may need something totally different, but maybe it'll help. So my pain is in the back of my shoulder. Right there is a big knot in my rotator cuff muscles, the infraspinatus. And I'm guessing there's probably some other knots, maybe in the teres down here, maybe in the lat. But I feel pain in my shoulder back here, and I feel like my shoulder is stuck up and forward. So you can even see that my shoulder is higher on this side than the other side. And I feel like it's just kind of like stuck here. What I think I did was I had a tough workout maybe 2 days ago, a little bit of work yesterday, and then I slept. I'm pretty sure I slept with my arm up under my head last night. So I think that's really what happened. And now I need to get the back of my shoulder moving better so that my shoulder can sit properly. So my pain is in my shoulder, but as I move my arm around, I notice several things, both in the shoulder and in my shoulder blade and in my spine. So let's look at these things joint by joint. So the elbow is also a little painful, but so notice that if I bring my arms down, my happy side, I can rotate it pretty far down. I'm attempting to keep my shoulder away from my ear and plug back on my back a little bit. But this side is like not really going anywhere. Ding, 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 ding. Much better. And this is not my best range of motion. As in, I struggle with internal rotation. External rotation on my body is much, much better. But ideally, we have 180 degrees of combined external rotation with internal rotation, which you see on my happy good side, I have 180 degrees of motion. But on my cranky side, it's definitely limited, maybe 60%. So we need to get that better. Now, if I cheat and let my shoulder go forward, I can make it look like I have the motion, but it's coming from my shoulder blade, not my shoulder joint. All right, so we know that the shoulder joint is not moving well. Next, if I lift my arms up, the shoulder is not going all the way up, and I feel tension in my lat all the way to my lower back. Same thing, if I go this way, this arm is easily up by my head. This arm is just, I feel it all the way to my ribs and lower back, and a little bit pinchy in the top of my shoulder. So some of you might have pain more here compared to my shoulder pain in the back because of the more pinching action that's happening. You can even see that my belly button's getting pulled over as I lift my arm, where on this side, my belly button doesn't move because it's moving independently. This side is just pulling like crazy. So therefore, we know that it's not just my shoulder joint, it's getting into my whole body. If I turn my head side to side, I feel a little bit stiff. It's not too bad, but definitely doesn't feel as easy. Symmetrically and sideways, I feel a lot of tension into my upper back and a little bit stiff. Up and down feels okay, pretty good. If I twist my spine, going to the left feels pretty stiff. I can only go maybe 45 degrees without a lot of effort, whereas to the right, I can get almost 90 degrees pretty easily with that. So we need to work on the entire body. There are things we can do both locally to the shoulder and then getting more globally with the whole spine. Let's start with just some easy breathing. It sounds like really simple, but it's worth your time. There's lots of ways to take some deep breaths. The simplest is just lie on your stomach and try to breathe into your lower back as if you could feel like this is lifting because you feel pressure both down into the floor and into the lower back. If your shoulder's okay with it, I also like the child's pose version where you sit back, flip the palms, and then put your hands over your head. Because this forces the breath into the back nicely. Versus if I've been sleeping like this all night, I'm probably going to breathe up into my chest more. So take about 5 or 6 breaths at least, in whichever position feels good. Great. In that position, I was also getting a bit of a lat stretch, so let's go ahead and see if that made any improvement. Yeah, already it feels a little bit easier. Yep, a little bit better. A little bit better. Already, I still feel it really pulling into my ribs, into my belly button, obliques. No, all that good stuff. So breathing, it does help. Now, I do a lot of mobility work, and I'm hypermobile, so things sometimes can change pretty quick on my body. If you've been stiff for days, weeks, months, years, it may take a lot longer. I've only been stiff for a few hours. Yesterday, this arm felt great. All right, next, let's try some rotation in the back. So I'm going to choose to put my hand behind my back, push the floor away, and push the ground away to create a rotational movement in my torso. There's a ton of ways to stretch into rotation. I like this one for my body. I'm going to take a deep breath, and then ease off. And then I'm going to do this several times. I like the arm behind the back position because it encourages me to roll the shoulder blade back. And if I have the arm up and then my shoulder is stuck, I'm probably going to just feel a pinching sensation instead of just a twist in my back. Another option is putting your hand behind your head, but you still want to try to twist with your spine and your shoulder blade and not just with the arm. So I can pretend I'm going up, but unless you're really moving your spine and twisting the ribs, it's not the intended movement. Every time I'm going a little bit farther, because my body says, okay, that's cool. And gently loosening up. One more time. Awesome. Okay, let's see. Great, so just getting that bit of rotation in my back. I feel less pulling into my abdomen, less pulling in my lower back. And that still feels pretty pulling down in here. So especially if you feel like you're getting pinching in your back, then this is a sensation that you probably are aware of. So next, let's work on a little bit more spine mobility. Let's see if that helps. So I'm going to start with a cat-cow motion, up and down. And then a segmental cat-cow. So I'm going to use my abs and back muscles to move only one bone at a time. So I'm going to tuck my tailbone, articulate through my spine. And you can go as slow as you need to on this. When I was first learning how to do this movement, I went extremely slow because there are certain parts of my back that I just could not feel moving. But as I get better at it, I can move much faster. One more each way. Awesome. Let's see if that helps. So I'm doing the number of reps that make my body feel like I've gotten the most benefit from that exercise. If I continue going, I might get a little bit farther, but I've kind of gone to a point of diminishing returns. So I just felt like, okay, that move is more normal-like. So I still feel a little pull, but it's much, much less after doing that. As I'm getting my spine moving, as allowing my shoulder blade to move much more freely. Let's see if this has gotten any better yet. Oh yeah, I feel like it's about 50% better without even addressing where the pain started. So people get rotator cuff repair surgeries all the time, when really they just needed to get their whole body moving and stronger. That's my TED Talk. Okay, so next we need to get the shoulder blades moving. You can do this in standing or sitting, but the shoulder blades have a extremely large range of motion. But most of us have been sitting at a computer or at a car and have lost the mobility in the shoulders and really only use a very small part of that motion, usually this part. So the back and down is really hard. As I do this, I'm thinking of keeping my abs engaged. It's not like super effortful, but enough to keep my ribs anchored. Because if not, as I pull my shoulders back, my ribs are going to go up. I'm not really getting just shoulder blade motion. I'm getting shoulder plus back motion, which is not getting my shoulder blades moving to their max. Yeah. All right. So from here, I'm going to keep my shoulders down and try to head circle, because there's lots of muscles that connect my shoulders to my neck and head. And if those are tight, it's going to lift my shoulders up. I'm just going to go both ways and feel what parts of the circle are tight. This section here feels pretty tight. So as I tip my head this direction, it makes my shoulder want to float up. So I need to really hold it down and be strong, and then work on pulling my head away. Well, sometimes muscles don't want to be stretched because they're tight for a reason. They're tight to protect your body. So if you're stretching and it just doesn't work, then just acknowledge that, move along to something else, and come back to it later and see if it feels better by doing something else instead. Usually needs more stability or strength in another body part, so that muscle will let go. Okay, let's see. Should that help? Yeah, a little bit. Still a little bit stiff in the back. Let's do a little more shoulder work. And you can do this in different positions. This one's challenging for me, so I'll do it here. You can also do it in sitting or standing. So I'm going to make a big circle with my arm. That's going to be at the edge of my range of motion with a lot of tension. So I'm going to tighten up my abs, twist my shoulder into external rotation, reach across my body, then lift up. It is really hard for me to lift here because of how twisted my arm is. And I'm not allowing any other body part to help me cheat. Once there, I'm going to reverse the twist into internal rotation, which I know is limited, and then continue circling overhead without letting my body twist to make it easier. Good. Once I get to the back, I'm going to try to twist even more and then reverse the process. So that my arm is twisted into internal rotation, lift it up, pause, reverse to external rotation, and then go all the way forward. Do that one more time. External rotation, lift. Ooh, so hard. Pause, reverse the twist, keep going. Ooh, got a little pop in there, felt good. All right, keep internally rotating, lift. Pause, reverse into external rotation. And then all the way up. If there's any pinching parts, I would just try to avoid that section of the circle because pain is not helpful. Let's see, we're getting anywhere, maybe 60% better now. That feels pretty normal. Much better. I still feel a little pull into my chest and back, but it's not nearly as much. You can still see it pulling into my abs. But look how far my head's going. My arm is going by my head. I do feel a little pinch in my shoulder at the top. So still not quite perfect. Let's try some rotation like active. So I'm going to pull my shoulders back and actively rotate into my limited range of motion. I'm actually going to go the other way with the other arm to help me stabilize my other shoulder back. Ooh, and then ease off. I can just switch real quick to get the opposite going. And then reverse. So this entire time, my scapula is down and squeezing onto my back. Otherwise, if I don't do that, the shoulder's going to want to dump forward. And that's how I was sleeping last night, so we don't need that. And then reverse again. And one more time. Ew, so hard. This side is like a lot of work to internally rotate, and my happy side is a minimal effort to do it. All right, let's see where we're at. Yeah, it's getting more like it. It's getting closer to normal. I felt a little easy pop in my shoulder. Nothing painful or scary, just a nice like, oh, okay, things are starting to move a little bit. So let's stretch that muscle back there. I'm gonna do a cross body stretch. As I pull my arm in, I'm going to row my shoulder backwards and plug it back and down. And the purpose of that is to try to get the stretch here, versus if I let my shoulder blade come around my body, I'll feel the stretch here. Good. Next, I'm going to push my arm out against my hand to create tension in that muscle in the back of my shoulder that's kind of stiff and angry. So essentially it's getting stronger at this stretched out position, which should allow me to then maybe pull it in a little closer. Even if I can't pull closer, it should feel a little less tension, less spasm. All right, we do it again. Push out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then pull it in. Ooh, all right. I think I'll do it once more. Push out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull it in. Feels nice. Okay. Woo. Okay, check it out. Let's see. Getting better. Getting better. Yeah. Not my best, but it's certainly closer, and I feel a little bit less pain in my shoulder. See. That's much better. Better. Still feels a little tight in my ribs. I could probably do some more lat stretching and side stretching too. So next I'm going to just work on rotating similar to this motion, just rotating my arm in as far as I can. Ease off. So if you think of like the head of your humerus, the head of your arm bone, and how it sits in your shoulder socket, it's like a golf ball on a tee. And if the back of the shoulder gets really tight, it pushes the golf ball off the center of the tee. So I want you to think of rotating my head of my humerus, my golf ball, right on the center of my tee. And if I reach my arm along as I do this, it's helping to create space in the joint, which is going to allow the bone to shift properly in the socket as I get things loosened up. Ooh, this is a lot of work. And I'm focusing on moving my shoulder, not just my forearm and wrist. I see a lot of times folks only move their forearm and then the shoulder doesn't actually move. That's why I'm creating a fist and creating tension. Now the forearm is twisting, but it's not the only thing moving. Cool. So much work. All right, next, I'm going to keep that twist inwards. Notice my shoulder is still down and back and never popped up. And then I'm going to try to pull this across my body. Now, if you have a lot of shoulder issues going on, like a lot of tightness, maybe a labral tear or some bigger injuries, this might get really pinchy, in which case you definitely don't want to do that. But I'm cool with it, and it helps me get a deeper internal rotation stretch. Good, so this feels good on my body, so I'm going to hold it and then press my arm out against my other hand. And that creates more stretch. So definitely be cautious on this one just because it's pretty wound up. And this is definitely not for everyone, but it feels good on me, so I'm gonna give it a little pull. I have lots of stability in my core, my shoulder blade, lots of tension in my shoulder, so my joint is really safe. And I don't have any like internal gunky stuff in my joint to get pinched, fortunately. Hopefully you're the same. Oh, okay. Shake it out, let's see. Much, much, much better. Great, that feels really good. I'll say like an 80-90%. Doesn't feel as easy as my other side. If the back of the shoulders is still really spasm, you can do a little ball massage. So I think I'm gonna do that next to see if it'll help me get a little farther with less discomfort. And put the ball on the back of the shoulder. And for me, I'm gonna play around with the area from the shoulder in towards the inside edge of my shoulder blade and find a couple spots that feel tight. You may also find spots more by the spine, but the rotator cuff is back out here. Can you be even, let's see, a little bit lower down there? Okay, so let's try that. The whole sequence of things we can do here. If I go to this side, you can see. Yeah, I think that's good. Okay, so I'm gonna roll around, find a spot that feels tight. Let's see. There's a good one, right there. All right, step one, lean your body weight into the ball. Breathe and relax. I'm imagining like my muscle is just, it starts by feeling like it's stuck over the ball, and then over time it can hopefully sink in and around the curve of the ball. And once I feel like I'm a little more relaxed, then I'm going to try a little bit of like oscillation. And it can be forward and back, up and down, maybe circular. So you can just try to like knead out that knot a little bit. This is just trying to like, the deep pressure of the ball helps to desensitize our body. It's really more of an impact on the nervous system. Because the muscle is tight because it's trying to protect the joint. And we're saying, it's okay, just relax, it's cool. Just like a weighted blanket makes you feel nice, or a good hug makes you feel more relaxed. Same concept. Ooh, yeah, so now as I oscillate, you feel it's getting a little deeper into the muscle fibers, a little more sore. Ooh, okay. On a pretty good spot, I'm gonna stay there. You could just hang out and breathe and relax. I'm gonna add a little bit of arm movement. This is asking me to go to the bathroom. Excuse me, I need to step out for a moment. And I'm actually getting a little referred pain, like mild achy soreness in the front of my shoulder from doing this. But it feels good, it feels productive, nothing bad. And then I'm gonna try just reaching different ways. And this is almost more like a pin and stretch with when the arm's moving. So you're pinning the tissue with the ball and then stretching away from the ball to get the stretch between the spot that's being pinned against the wall and where the muscle attaches to your shoulder. Okay, we'll get back to some rolling. And you can either repeat that whole process again on another spot or just kind of generally massage the arm. Ooh, okay. Let's see. How are we doing now? Oh, it feels so much better. So from here I could probably repeat, actually I think I'll do the internal rotation, reach across. The stretch feels pretty good. Pulling the shoulder back, that feels good. All right, next, I think I need to do some more spine stabilization. Again, I'm pretty hypermobile and stability makes my body happy. So I'm gonna come down to this half kneeling position with my inside leg forward. Strong core, squeeze my butt and go tall through my hips. grab my band and pull down and across to get a little bit of twisting movement and pulling. Now this side is pretty easy for me because right rotation was better when I tested it at the beginning. Okay, so let's compare to side 2. Okay. Oh, wait, much harder. Doable, but harder. See, giving a little twist of my back and my obliques, my side bendy, twisty muscles are working to make my body feel stable. I'm also getting some good twisting through my ribs and thoracic spine. And that gives my shoulder blade a good foundation to sit on. Good. That's better. Okay, let's see. Oh, that's more like it. When my body feels stable, the ribs feel stable, and my shoulder blade can stabilize properly to allow my shoulder joint to move pretty darn well. We started way up here. Now my total motion is almost 180. Not quite. We're getting 85, 90%. Let's try a few more stabilization exercises. This one feels really good on my shoulder. So I have a loop, I just loop my wrist through. And this is more of a shoulder blade motion. I'm going to pull across and down with my shoulder blade being the movement that I'm focused on. Let's see if I come over here. Yeah, okay. So I slept last night with my shoulder here, and I'm going to train it to go back and down instead. This is a PMF diagonal, FYI. And as I'm doing this, I'm avoiding the urge to roll my shoulder forward. I'm going to keep pulling it back and down. Great. Let's see how it's going. Mucho better. Okay, so we have, the bottom is a little bit sticky, but I can get the full 180 degrees of motion. I feel a little stiffness in my upper back. But I can get my arm up, a little pull into my lower back as well, but it's still much better. I can still see a little pull here, but my arm is going so much farther. All right, so one last upper back drill. So I like this Cobra version. Elbows a little forward, squeeze my shoulders back and down as if I'm trying to widen my collarbone and feel the muscles between my shoulder blades work really hard. And then straighten the arms round and hollow, which is working my lats as well. And then pull again. This is going to be pretty hard if you're not used to using these muscles. So there's definitely some easier versions. And then again. Keep squeezing back and down. And depending on where the hands are, I can bias the work to slightly different parts of my upper back. You can even try turning the head different ways. Awesome. You may just finish it off with another good child's pose stretch, maybe a lat stretch, since I kept feeling it into my lats, lower back area. Do both sides for good measure. All right, let's see. Great. So if I wasn't able to make progress on my own, I would definitely get some physical therapy, some dry needling, some more like massage type interventions, and some joint mobilization both in my shoulder and my spine. Which I do frequently actually, and then I can use all of these strategies to help maintain. But sometimes you just get so stuck, you just need someone to help you out, and you can't always get to those spots by yourself. So I hope this helped, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I will do my best to answer them.